According to Kyiv, Russia's offensive for Bakhmut has largely stalled because of the sheer number of soldiers it's lost in months of fighting. Germany and the EU have reached an agreement in their dispute over the future of combustion engines in the bloc after 2035. Russia's Bakhmut offensive in eastern Ukraine has largely stalled, according to Kyiv, due to the sheer number of troops it has lost in 7 months of fighting. The top commander of Ukraine's military said Saturday that his forces are pushing back against Russian troops in the long and grinding battle for Bakhmut. While the Russian Ministry of Defense claimed its forces have killed more than 155 Ukrainian soldiers in the past 24 hours. Local authorities said one civilian was killed in Bakhmut on Friday and another civilian was killed elsewhere. The battle for Bakhmut is the longest clash of the war, with Moscow deploying both regular soldiers and fighters of the mercenary Wagner group. Russian forces need the city to push deeper into parts of the eastern Donbass region, but Ukraine's allies say that the capture of the city would have limited impact on the course of the war. Germany and the European Union announced that they have reached an agreement in their dispute over the future of cars with combustion engines, allowing the registration of new vehicles with such engines even after 2035, provided they only use climate-neutral fuel. Both the Vice President of the European Commission and Germany's Transport Minister went to Twitter to mark the deal, which comes months after Brussels agreed to ban the sale of CO2-emitting cars in the EU after 2035. Berlin then demanded an exemption for cars that burn e-fuels, arguing that they are carbon neutral because they are made from hydrogen and carbon previously captured or obtained from biomass. But critics denounced this move, arguing battery electric technology is a better fit for passenger cars and synthetic fuels should be used only where no other option is feasible. Berliners are going to the polls on Sunday to vote on a proposal that could drastically ramp up the German capital's climate goals. The referendum calls for Berlin to become climate neutral by 2030, a deadline that's 15 years ahead of the country's current goal. Polls show a majority of the city's inhabitants favor the earlier date, but the biggest hurdle will be getting the required 25% of the city's eligible voters to back it on a day when no other elections are taking place.
The opening of the 28th Ibero-American Summit welcomed leaders from Latin America, Spain and Portugal on Friday evening in Santo Domingo, the capital of the Dominican Republic. Leaders from 22 countries will seek agreements on tools to address the difficult economic situation in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, aggravated further by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Paraguayan President Mario Abdo Benitez urged participants to rethink a fairer financial system that prioritizes investment in the green economy.
Powerful tornadoes tore through parts of the Deep South on Friday night, killing at least 23 people in Mississippi and obliterating dozens of buildings. Early on Saturday, Mississippi officials warned that figure could rise, as 4 people are still missing and dozens more are injured. The governor of the state, Tate Reeves, vowed to help rebuild devastated towns and declared a state of emergency. U.S. President Joe Biden also promised federal help, describing the damage as heartbreaking.
3 fragments from Athens' Parthenon temple, kept by the Vatican for centuries, have been returned to Greece in what Pope Francis has called a gesture of friendship. The fragments represent a horse and 2 male heads and will be added to the collection at the Acropolis Museum. The move renews the pressure on London's British Museum to hand back a collection of sculptures taken from the ancient site more than 200 years ago.